All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our RBT practice exam series where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. An office manager who wants to better understand the frequency at which her employees take breaks away from their desk. The office manager is extremely busy and can't oversee all her employees on a constant basis. What should they use if they want to collect frequency data, but in a way that fits their schedule constraints? Okay, we have a measurement question that requires a little bit of critical thinking, right? Because the easy part is the office manager wants to measure frequency, how often her employees are away from their desks. No big deal. If that was all she wanted to do, then frequency would be the easy answer and we could move on. The stipulation here is the office manager is busy and can't oversee all her employees on a constant basis. So what does the office manager, or what should the office manager do to better fit her schedule constraints? Remember, we have two types of data collection, right? We have continuous and we have discontinuous. And then we have permanent product, but we're focusing on continuous and discontinuous as our two big umbrellas. With continuous measurement, you need to record every single instance of behavior, and that's what frequency is. But if the office manager can't oversee all her employees all the time, continuous measurement is not realistic. So now she has to use a discontinuous measurement procedure. So let's look at our answer choices. A, rate recording. Well, rate is continuous, and we've ruled out continuous given her schedule and resource constraints. So now we have partial interval, whole interval, and momentary time sampling. All three are discontinuous measurement procedures, but only one of them doesn't require constant overseeing of the learner, or in this case, the employee. Even with partial and whole interval being discontinuous, you still have to observe the subject or the learner the entire time. The only one you don't is momentary time sampling, where you're only checking at the very end of the interval to see if the behavior is occurring or not. So in this case, the office manager could set a time for an interval and would only need to observe at the end of that interval. That way, she can go do what else she needs to do and only check when that interval is up. So the best way to collect this data that's going to fit their schedule constraint is going to be momentary time sampling. Andre used to go out late at night to the tennis court by his house, turn on the lights and practice. Today, however, when Andre went to the courts and tried to turn on the lights did not come on. After a few days, Andre stopped going to the court at night. What consequence influenced Andre's behavior? We have a consequence question. Our three primary consequences are reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. So first thing we want to ask ourselves in consequence questions is how did the consequence change the behavior? If the behavior increased, it's reinforcement. If it decreased, then it's punishment or extinction. Well, we know Andre used to go to the tennis courts, turn on the lights in practice, but now Andre no longer goes to the court at night. So Andre's behavior increased or decreased? Well, it decreased. So the consequence was either punishment or extinction. Now, what was the consequence? What happened? Andre used to go out to the court and turn on the lights. However, when Andre went to the courts now and tried to turn on the lights did not come on. So reinforcement was withheld for turning on the lights. And since Andre is no longer getting reinforcement from turning on the lights, he's no longer going. So Andre's behavior was put on extinction. Remember the difference between punishment and extinction. Punishment, the consequence is added or taken away. Extinction, a previously reinforced behavior, like turning on the lights, no longer receives reinforcements, like when the lights did not come on. So the consequence that influenced Andre's behavior was C, extinction. A behavior analyst is conducting an assessment to understand the factors maintaining a student's frequent out-of-seat behavior during math class. The analyst collects data on the instructions given, the leaving the seat behavior, and the teacher's response to the behavior across multiple sessions without manipulating any variables. What type of assessment is the analyst conducting? This is a great question to remind us to read slowly because it's a wordy, long question. But if we read slowly, it becomes very straightforward. We're looking for the type of assessment. So let's start from the beginning. The focus is to understand why the student is getting out of their seat. So we collect data on instructions given, or the SD, the behavior, and the teacher's response. So we're basically taking, and the analyst is taking ABC data, antecedent, behavior, consequence, data. They're also not manipulating any variables. So if we know they're not manipulating any variables, we can eliminate A of functional analysis, because of functional analysis, we are manipulating consequences and antecedents. But we're not doing that here. So A is out. It isn't an indirect assessment because the analyst is collecting data directly on the antecedents, behaviors, and consequences. It's not an ecological assessment because the ecological assessment focuses on the environment, not necessarily the A, B, and C's. So it has to be D, a descriptive assessment. You can see when you read carefully and not get overwhelmed by maybe the length of the question or the wordiness, that we can simplify these questions and start to predict our answers. Again, the analyst is simply collecting A, B, C, antecedent, behavior, consequence data without manipulating any variables. It's a direct assessment. It's a descriptive assessment. So the type of assessment the analyst is conducting would be considered a D descriptive assessment. Bobby is a chef who owns his own restaurant. He prefers to season specific dishes so that they are just right. For some dishes, Bobby will season the food by shaking in the container, but for other dishes, Bobby will use precise measuring spoons to season the food. What aspect of Bobby's behavior is changing? So we have another behavior question, and we're looking at Bobby's behavior. And what is Bobby doing? Well, we know Bobby is seasoning dishes. Now, he's doing it in a couple of different ways. Sometimes Bobby seasons the food by shaking in the container, and sometimes Bobby uses measuring spoons to season the food. The first question you want to ask, right? Because when we think about aspects of behavior, we have function, we have topography, we have magnitude. Function, why is the behavior happening? What's maintaining the behavior? Topography, how does the behavior look? And magnitude, what is the intensity of the behavior? So let's start with A, function. Is the reason Bobby's behavior is happening, is it changing? No. Bobby, whether he's shaking in the container or using spoons, is seasoning the food. The function of the behavior isn't changing, so A is out. Is the topography changing? Is the way the seasoning looks changing? It is. Sometimes it looks like he's just shaking a container. Sometimes he's getting out measuring spoons to season the food. He's accomplishing the same thing. He's meeting the same goal, meeting the same purpose, serving the same purpose, but the way it looks is different. That topography is changing. What about magnitude? Magnitude has to do with intensity, things like slow and fast, big and small. We're not necessarily looking at intensity of seasoning right here. We're just looking at how the seasoning behavior looks, which again is going to be our topography. And then rate is a measurement. So fluency check, right? If you're fluent, you can immediately rule out rate because it just doesn't make sense in this context. The aspect of Bobby's behavior, the seasoning behavior that is changing, is topography. The seasoning is looking different depending on how Bobby is seasoning the dishes. David, a behavior technician, has been working with a client who's making significant progress in therapy. The client's parents are pleased with the progress and present David with a $50 gift card to Starbucks as a token of their appreciation, which is the first time they've given David a gift. David feels grateful for the gesture, but is unsure whether accepting the gift would be appropriate. What is unethical about the gift? Let's think about our new gift giving rules, right? What are the new rules of gifts? 1, it has to be under $10. 2, it can't be a regular thing, right? It has to be infrequent. So let's look at David's situation. The client's parents are pleased. They give him a $50 gift card. The first thing is the price. It's too much, right? It's got to be $10 or less. Now, is it too frequent? Well, no, this is the first time they've given David a gift. So if this gift card was $10 and it's the first time they've given David a gift, it wouldn't necessarily be an issue as long as it doesn't become a regular thing. What is unethical about the gift? A, the frequency. Well, it's the first time, right? It's not like they're giving him gift cards all the time. So the frequency is not an issue at this time. The problem is B, the cost of the gift. $50 is too much. We need to have a cheaper gift. It's got to be $10 or less. C, gifts are unethical no matter what. No longer true with the new rules. And then D, nothing is wrong with accepting this gift. If it was $10 or less, accepting the gift card this one time would not be an issue. $50 is just too expensive. So the problem here is the cost of the gift. Thanks for watching from ABA Exam Review. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our RBT study materials. Subscribe. We would really appreciate it. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard, spread the word, and we'll see you soon.